Tonight, NDC revives controversy surrounding the Agyapa Minerals royalties deal, vowing to prosecute all NPP officials found to have dissipated public funds if they win this year's elections, after it emerged that $12 million has so far been spent on the botched vehicle.
That the next NDC government will investigate the stinky $12 million Agyapa scandal, retrieve all illegal payments made under same, and ensure that all the perpetrators are prosecuted.
Last week, before the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, it emerged that government had so far spent $12 million in an attempt to set up the botched Agyapa Mineral Royalties vehicle in 2020. The minerals trading vehicle, which was established as a special purpose vehicle for trading mineral resources on behalf of government, came under serious public criticism from civil society organizations who raised questions about transparency and viability of the venture, leading to its suspension. Now, listen to the Chief Executive Officer of the Minerals Income Investment Fund, Edward Senanu, addressing the Public Accounts Committee.
Because this was an IPO, and as honorable members are aware, for every IPO, consultants, etc. come in, the establishment of an office in the United Kingdom and also in Ghana, etc. come into place. So there have been expenses. The whole idea was for MIF to be reimbursed after the IPO. But as the IPO is now suspended, until that suspension is lifted, we can't move on with Agyapa.
How much have you spent so far in relation to Agyapa?
I'll get the exact figure, but it should be should be around 12 million. 12 million? Yeah.
Dollars?
$12 million, right? $12 million.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is hanging now?
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Okay.
Agyapa, the expense was towards an IPO. So it is important that the MIF and Agyapa and even Ministry of Finance look at how we could even use the company, it being a royalties company, for our purposes. So the IPO, for such an extensive global IPO, usually such expenses have to be incurred for you to have an IPO. Unfortunately, in the investment bank, well, this is what happens. So it is up to us to look at how we strategize in using this as a royalties company. As honorable members may be aware, a lot of the time the royalties companies actually even make more money than the companies than the companies that are listed. So it was an opportunity, but again, we'll see how it goes. For us, we are not able to give a definite response to this because of the directions and from where the directions also came from.
Well, today the National Democratic Congress had been addressing a news conference on the matter. Here's the National Communications Officer, Sammy Gyamfi.
During the committee's consideration of the report, the CEO of MIF stated that this colossal amount was spent on the setting up of the Agyapa SPV, the payment of so-called consultancy fees, and the rental of office space, and the processes leading to the initial public offering towards the listing of Agyapa royalties on the London Stock Exchange. This is what they claim to have spent 153 million cedis, equivalent to 1.5 trillion old Ghana cedis on. The Ghanaian public was taken aback by these disclosures, which add to the never-ending list of corruption scandals that have plagued the nation under the watch of President Akufo-Addo and his corrupt protege, Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia.
He announced a plan fully backed by the main opposition party to track down and prosecute all persons in the current administration found to have dissipated public funds.
I stand here with the full blessing of the next President of the Republic of Ghana, Inshallah, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to inform you, and by extension the good people of Ghana, that the next NDC government will investigate the stinky $12 million Agyapa scandal, retrieve all illegal payments made under SAME, and ensure that all the perpetrators are prosecuted. The day of accountability and reckoning is fast approaching, and no one found culpable will be left off the hook by the next NDC Mahama government. This is a solemn pledge and I charge to keep when, by the grace of God and the good people of Ghana, the NDC assumes the reins of government in 2025. We call on the Ghanaian electorate not to allow President Akufo-Addo and his corrupt cabal of family and friends install as president their puppet, Alhaji Bawumia.
And I want to bring in right now the chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee in Parliament, Samuel Atta Akyea, into the conversation. We'll also be joined shortly by the National Communications Officer of the party of the NDC, Sammy Gyamfi. Mr. Atta Akyea, thanks for your time here on Top Story.
Yes, my pleasure as always.
So the NDC's position is very clear. The CEO of MIF says $12 million have been spent so far. We know this has been botched. Fair to actually get into this a bit more and prosecute those who dissipated funds?
Well, in the first instance, this is a very glorified propaganda, which is passing off as if they are concerned about the financial health of the nation. Because I do not even understand why they want to now connect this thing to Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia. So let's try and separate facts from, politics and propaganda. You know, when this gentleman appeared, the MIF boss appeared before the committee. He didn't even detail the components of the $12 million.
Well, he said a few things, though. For example, he said a few things that gave the indication of what it was spent on. For example, he says they spent it on offices in the UK and then also on consultancy. And he says all that was towards the IPO.
I agree, but that was not a good enough detail for Public Accounts Committee engagement. I've been there before. So, off the cuff commentary of this nature does not assist the committee. I thought the committee would have gone the further length to say that, can we have the detailed breakdown together with the accompanying receipts? Then we'll know whether there's a corruption dimension to this initial expenditure in trying to do this Agyapa deal. So I'm very cautious about some of these matters, and I don't want to go into that kind of political dimension to raw facts and data. And that is how we begin to develop the health of the nation. But when we say, okay, I don't have the full details as to how much was spent on rent, how much was paid for consultants, to consultants in trying to, roll out this project on the stock exchange and the rest of it. They rush to, a press conference for one major reason, to denigrate the name Bawumia. It leaves much to be desired.
Mr. Atta Akyea, to spend $12 million on Agyapa Royalties Minerals vehicle that we now know, for all intents and purposes, is dead in the water, amounts in many people's eye to causing financial loss to the state.
Well, let's have the details. If it's a misinvestment, it does not tantamount to corruption. We should know the details. What was involved with this matter? If it was an investment idea gone bad, it does not graduate into criminality. We all know. You know, if you talk to anybody who is serious in the criminal laws of this country, you are talking about Israel. A criminal, mind to achieve a criminal. Raw material for propaganda, then you are not helping the nation.
Let's interrogate this a bit more, Mr. Atta Akyea. Please stay with me. Let me bring in Ms. Sammy Gyamfi, who is the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who addressed the news conference today. Mr. Gyamfi, thanks for your time here on Top Story. You make the conclusion that your party will prosecute all persons found in this corrupt act. That is assuming that there is indeed corruption. If you listen to the CEO, he specifies a few things that the money was used on. He says offices in the UK, consultants towards the IPO, and he explains that when you're dealing with such a global IPO, such expenses is normal practice. So why are you assuming that there's corruption there?
All right, thank you for having me, and a very good evening to senior brother, Honorable Samuel Atta Akyea. He's a very senior lawyer at the bar, and he knows that illegality is a vitiating factor in any transaction. Now, we are not just talking about propaganda. We are not just raising issues to score political points. We are raising issues in the interest of the people of this country, because we know the challenges we are confronted with as a people. And we know what $12 million, equivalent to 153 million Ghana cedis, can do for us. Now, it is a fact that an institution of state mandated with the responsibility of investigating transactions like the Agyapa deal, in this case, the Office of Special Prosecutor, conducted a corruption risk assessment on the deal. The report was published. It is a matter of public record. Mr. Atta Akyea can refer to that. The OSP was very clear that the Agyapa deal was illegal because it breached the Public Procurement Act. He said the whole transaction was fraught with procurement rigging and therefore breached the Public Procurement Act. He raised issues about breaches of other statutes like the Public Financial Management Act, and even violations of the supreme law of the land, the 1992 Constitution. All the facts have been outlined clearly in the corruption risk assessment report published by the Office of Special Prosecutor. It is on the basis of these findings, damning findings of the OSP, that the President directed that the deal should be suspended. And so there is therefore no legal basis. There was no legal basis, if I can put it that way, for any payments to have been made under a deal which is illegal, a deal which infringes the law. That is the point we are making here. Because, number one, aside the fact that the nation has not derived any benefit or value from the botched, or if you like, the aborted Agyapa deal, no value, no benefit whatsoever. The deal sins against many laws of this country.
Well, Mr. Gyamfi, on the subject of the corruption risk assessment, it was after that this deal was suspended, was it not? I mean, do you have any evidence
exactly.
that
so if the deal
any
has
amount
been
was spent post that? I mean, if this
exactly.
12 million, that sounds to me that was spent before.
We don't know for sure whether the money was spent post that.
Exactly my point to you earlier. You don't know for sure, but you made a conclusion that corruption has happened and you will prosecute people.
No, Evans, get this clear. If you make payments under a transaction which is illegal, a transaction which is unlawful, whether you make the payments before or after the determination that the transaction was unlawful is immaterial.
But who determined?
Must be retrieved.
Who determined that the transaction was unlawful?
If I can make my point, Evans.
Yeah, but if you can, this point you make so that we can clarify that. Who determined that the transaction was unlawful?
The Office of Special Prosecutor made that determination. It is on that basis, because government has not been able to rebut any of the findings, the factual, well-grounded findings of the Office of Special Prosecutor.
But you know,
they've not been able to dispute the fact that data bank was not initially part of the bid, but through procurement rigging, they were slotted inside.
But you know that the OSP is not a court of competent jurisdiction.
No, hold on.
At best, it's an opinion.
If we should go by what you're saying, then nobody can say that the crime has been committed in this country or the country has lost money to corruption unless a determination is made by the courts. We of the NDC have always held the position that this deal was inimical to the interests of Ghana. We have stated that it was a bad deal. Our mineral royalties have been grossly undervalued and the same. We're not getting value for money. This was a position supported by all the civil society organizations in the extractive sector. The Office of Special Prosecutor, through transparent, credible investigations corroborated our position. So that is the position we are standing by. And to the extent that the deal did not materialize, the deal has been suspended owing to the findings of the if the special prosecutor was not a court and the president does not agree with the position of the special prosecutor, why suspend the deal?
Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, hold on for me. Mr. Atta Akyea, how do you respond to that? The corruption risk assessment that, in essence, terminated this deal?
Is to convert the thinking of NDC to the decision of a court of competent jurisdiction. You know what the law is like, that even a special prosecutor, when he's putting a credible dossier, will have to present the case before a competent jurisdiction. The accused persons will have the right of counsel. They present the evidence and the rest of it, and it will culminate in a decision. If we don't go this route, and we still believe that, in the name of propaganda, let's turn the laws of Ghana upside down, and in the convenience of a one-sided press conference, let's denigrate others. I'm afraid that is not democracy. That's propaganda. And they should rest assured that whatever it is, if it's a criminal matter, time will not sort of cancel out a criminal case. Whatever it is, whoever is in power, if they are interested in going to this matter, they should not conduct the case in the public domain. They should just put everything before a court. And I'm afraid we don't know the decision that informed the president to suspend the Agyapa deal. It could not come from the special prosecutor's point of view.
No, but the presidency issued a statement, and the suspension was clearly directly linked to the corruption risk assessment that was done.
Well, I'm not privy to that at all. The president is saying that by reason of the findings of the special prosecutor, this is the decision I've taken. I've not read one thing about it. You can help me if you have it.
I mean, on the back of Martin Amedu's, position on the matter, which was released then, the presidency issued a statement that in the interest of transparency, they're putting this on hold for now, whilst further work is done into that matter. That really triggered that decision that was taken at the time.
Well, I want to find a nexus. He might have put certain things in the public domain. The decision of the president to suspend it, whether it's connected with it or not, I'm not privy to that. What informed the president to do so? But I want to stress it strong. The findings of a special prosecutor is not final and binding. Nobody should convert that into law. Even the special prosecutor is subject to the course of this land in trying to bring a credible case, which you need to put forward your witnesses, and the rest of it will be done until we have a clear judgment, which will show who is guilty. Bear in mind that in this feverish pitch to succeed Akufo-Addo, NDC should not, sort of make fetish of every issue as if everything is criminal. This nation is not safe with this level of propaganda. And press conferences are not just, conclusive evidence of culpability or criminality, as it were. And I want to stress also, let's be careful that if there was a poor error of judgment in the investment in Agyapa, it will not tantamount to criminality unless we establish the mens rea and the actus reus.
Mr. Atta Akyea, so you've heard the CEO of the MIF say they spent $12 million on something that we know now is dead in the water. You've questioned why the park did not probe further to get the full details when it actually relates to what the money was spent on. It's not too late, is it? I mean, you are the chair of the Mines and Energy Committee. Is it something that you're interested in, and you would use your own office to get to the bottom of this?
We are very much interested in that. You see, matters of this nature, touch on the public purse. And therefore, we have the power to bring the MIF boss to say that, could you please give us the constituents of this huge amount? And then we will be talking factually. But if not, this omnibus figure, which we don't know what, is a certain matter of good discussion. In fact, we will be able to know whether some matters were over the top or was within industry practice before even the imputation of criminality will make sense.
So will you do this?
We have to. I don't have a choice. We're going to bring him before the committee, and he should give us the components of this huge sum of money. And of course, there are members of the NDC on the committee he could be grilled to bring the understanding to bear on the matter. But now I'm of the view that we can have a good and meaningful discussion. Apart from that, making Bawumia connected with the Agyapa is a vile propaganda. We should encourage it in this kind of politicking we are going on.
Mr. Gyamfi, you back that move by the Mines and Energy Committee to look into this?
The position that Mr. Atta Akyea has taken on this matter is very, very bizarre, very, very intriguing. I mean, how can you describe the findings of an institution of state like the Office of Special Prosecutor as propaganda? How can you describe the reliance on the findings of the Office of the Special Prosecutor as a denigration of somebody? And why should you have a problem if Bawumia and President Akufo-Addo, or who have ultimate responsibility for the governance of this country, are held liable for illegal payments that have provided no benefit or value to the state? Listen, Evans, let's just simplify this matter. 153 million Ghana cedis of our money as a country has been paid to a company that provided no services, no value, or no benefit to the nation. They claim to have spent the money on consultancy services. If you pay a consultant for a service and the service never goes through, the deal never materializes, what is a reasonable thing for you to do? If Mr. Atta Akyea's son uses Mr. Atta Akyea's money to pay a consultant for a particular service, and Mr. Atta Akyea annuls that transaction, will Mr. Atta Akyea not reasonably expect that his child will go to the consultant for a refund? Why is it that till date, these monies which have been paid to consultants, including Gabi Ocheredako's law firm, cousin to President Akufo-Addo, Kenoforieta's company, Databank, for no work done?
But you know that hasn't been established yet. That hasn't been established yet.
No, it has been established beyond doubt.
Who established
that?
Oh
my God!
Who established
African legal associates received payments under the Agyapa deal. Gabi
but who established
is on record to have published the figures. You can check.
So your sources
is also on record to have received payments under the botched illegal Agyapa deal. Now, if in the Waterville case, the Woyome case, the Isofoton case, the NPP were up in arms on grounds that payments had been paid under unconstitutional or illegal agreements which were null and void, and therefore refunds had to be made. How can Mr. Atta Akyea in good conscience tell his constituents and the people listening to him that if we in the opposition are demanding refunds of these monies which have been paid to entities who have done no work to benefit this country, we are doing propaganda, we are denigrating people? What kind of
Mr. Gyamfi, just finally, if you may, he said though that he will lead his committee as a chair to probe this further and get to the specifics.
No, he's not interested in any probe. Clearly,
but he said that
position on this matter.
But he said that
he's
openly.
Not interested in unearthing the truth. This matter has already been investigated. We don't need another probe on this matter.
No, what he says is he needs to get to the heart of what the 12 million was used for.
No, but the Public Accounts Committee is currently seized with the matter.
But it didn't get to the bottom of this.
That they have asked Miss for further and better particulars. I mean, we are not even interested in the details. The bottom line is that you are taking taxpayers' money in this time of suffering, in this time of hardships, at the time we're even battling the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay, Sammy, thank you very much. Mr. Thatcher, can you give us an indication of the timelines? When do you hope to trigger this process?
Almost immediately. It's come to the front burner, and we are not going to waste time at all to bring the MIF boss to come and give us the details. But you see, we shouldn't be emotive about this, because Agyapa is not running away anywhere. But I'm afraid if we are not careful and you are in an indecent haste to go to the press, when you yourself, if they should tell you that, do you know the consequence of 12 million, you can't tell the general public. And when, at the moment, I'm hearing for the first time that insofar as something is coming from the special prosecutor, then that is the law. Oh, please.
Mr. Thatcher, thank you very much, Sammy Gyamfi. I'm grateful too. We look forward to the Mines and Energy Committee's probe into this. Edem Senanu, co-chair of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, is on. Mr. Senanu, so you've had the details. Parliament's Mines and Energy Committee wants to do something about it. Where do you stand on this? Probing, prosecution, etc.?
Yeah, I think the probe, the additional, the further and better particulars is very much needed. I am shocked, and I'm sure civil society in its entirety will be shocked that any payments were made, because we followed this thing closely. We had the Ministry of Finance; they made presentations. We asked for the assumptions leading to the returns that Ghana would have. They were not able to provide us. We made our stance clear that this didn't look like it was going to be in the best interest of the country. So it is shocking to hear that money was spent, whether for consultants or whether for an office premise. And even if it was sent for an office premise, have we jettisoned our interest and ensured that we retrieved our money back from that office? Have these consultants in good conscience, have we made sure we got the monies paid back? What actions have been taken? We'll really be looking forward to what additional information PAC will get. And I think that ultimately, if the OSP needs to do a much more fine detail audit of what transpired, especially the processes. At what point was approval given for consultants to be engaged, paid, offices to be paid for, whilst all of us were disagreeing with the entire concept and in the way they were going? It's just shocking to hear that as much as $12 million has been spent on this.
Thank you very much. That is Edem Senanu there. Where do you stand on this? Send me a WhatsApp 05511 11997. News Night in a minute.